Please take notice. Oh, we noticed. Trust me.
Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabble, Lucy does dabble.
Introducing Danny Cevallos.
The publicity of this trial makes it messy and complicated. But if there's somebody I want to help me sort through it, it's NBC News legal analyst Danny Cevallos.
They may find that you're not credible.
They were focusing on a lot of the proper issues, the issues they should have been focused on.
How can you say he was this horrible?
They were confusing.
That would be a situation where the Constitution doesn't have an answer and there is a pressing conflict. It is irritating for the courts. It is challenging. It could lead to a serious problem if, as you said, they become too congested with dealing with these orders.
They keep coming.
Yeah, John, some people get their name on the Tonight Show credits, but others, they get their name read off by Anderson freaking Cooper. Welcome back, Dabblers, to another Quickie with Lucy, where the briefs are short, the jokes are dirty, and the only thing sharper than Danny Cevallos' jawline is the motion that he's about to file. Tonight, we're skipping around a little bit because I think it's important that we talk about the cast of characters in this here LOLsuit. And today we are going to meet a new player in this crazy LOLsuit filed by Stuttering John Melendez against Karl and Shuli of Who Are These Podcasts and the Shuli Network. We are going to be looking at filing number 10, which is the Notice of Appearance. Sounds very boring, right? Nobody has talked about this document. So why am I? Well, this is not just paperwork. This is the moment that John Melendez stopped being the drunk guy singing karaoke and realized that the house band was the Isotopes. So the filing, what is it? August 29th, 2025, Danny Cevallos Esquire of Cevallos and Wong LLP officially files his Notice of Appearance. Translation, hi Judge, I'm here. I represent the defendants and I actually know what I'm doing. What this means is that from every moment forward, every piece of crap that John files gets answered, dissected, and roasted by a real litigator. No more letting typos slide like come down Aaron's throat. Now we are officially in the big leagues. Meet Danny. Let's talk about this guy. Danny isn't just some courthouse rat. He is a legit criminal defense and civil litigator, handling everything from murder trials to wrongful convictions. He's admitted to practice law in New York, Pennsylvania, the Virgin Islands, and New Jersey, which means that his passport has more stamps than John's bar tab is long, especially if you count beer math. Danny's also a TV lawyer. He's an MSNBC legal analyst, an NBC News contributor, a frequent CNN guest. He's been on Anderson Cooper 360, Aaron Burnett Out Front, and CNN Newsroom. He's even taught law and ethics at Drexel University. Meanwhile, John was once a warm body in the fourth row of The Tonight Show. Rows of strangers got seated closer to Jay Leno than John did. Danny is literally appearing on TV now, unlike John, and when he talks, people actually care about what he has to say. Now, on the other hand, you might remember that Benedict, Stuttering John's attorney, is over here filing complaints with his own name spelled wrong.
It felt like they weren't even spell checking them.
Danny, he's cross-examined murder witnesses on national TV. John, he's cross-examined his empty fridge and lost. Danny shows up with courtroom gravitas. John shows up without his wallet and litter in his hair. Danny is a polished MSNBC commentator, and John is polishing off another beer. This isn't just a mismatch between these two attorneys who are now duking it out. It almost feels like malpractice to even pretend that it's a fair fight.
YouTube's terms of service.
And here's the thing that might sting a little bit for our plaintiff, Stuttering John, because last week he actually said that he wants to be an attorney.
No, that's to become a lawyer.
Tabber is an attorney, but a bad one. Danny is an attorney and a good one. Point Danny. Stuttering John desperately wants to be a political commentator. Danny is a political commentator, a national one, on MSNBC and CNN. John's takes? Applebee's barstool chatter? He couldn't even sneak onto Bill Maher as Richard Ojeda's +1. Point Danny. But most crushing of all, John wants respect for his so-called credits. He'll tell you about Airheads, and about the one time he wandered across the screen in Baywatch like a bloated sea lion.
The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, from Dude, Where's My Car, and all the other things that I've done. And I'm the only one who's broadcasting in this cesspool of ridiculousness that has all that.
But Danny's on TV every damn week, talking law, looking sharp, and actually respected. Point Danny. So let's recap these attorney players in our little courtroom drama. John wants, Tabber is, but sucks. Danny is, and is good. It's like the evolutionary chart of legal and media competence, and John is still dragging his knuckles at the far left. All right, so now we know a little bit more about Danny, who of course is Karl and Shuli's attorney, but let's not forget about the rest of this circus crew. You know him, you've heard of him, but it's worth a closer look at the usual suspects. John Melendez, aka Stuttering John. Once the celebrity interview king of Howard Stern, he then bailed and left for The Tonight Show. He slid down to Stephanie Miller and eventually into obscurity. These days, he's better known for being roasted on podcasts than anything he's created himself. That's our plaintiff, Tabor B. Benedict Esquire, John's lawyer.
They want to have someone that's gone to an Ivy League law school. They want to have someone that has over a decade of experience on Wall Street, yet has no overhead, so I can charge, 30, 40, 50% lower.
Criminal record? Yeah, he's got one. In fact, he has a felony coercion plea from 2011, which resulted from his hit-and-run drunk driving incident with a cyclist who had 3 children. Yes, Tabor was behind the wheel. He was disbarred for 10 years because of that. And he was also supposed to serve 10 years in jail. I don't actually know how many years he did end up serving, but I will tell you this. When he went off to jail, he decided to throw himself a going-away party, where he told all of his friends and family that he was going to Europe. But what about his civil litigation chops? Slim to none. As far as I can tell, he's only litigated one case before this, and he ended up withdrawing his counsel from that case. His biggest highlight so far? Spelling his own name wrong in the filing.
It felt like they weren't even spell checking them.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is a typo with a law license. Shuli Egar, another Stern alum. His time never overlapped with Stuttering John's. Despite that, John went after Shuli again and again. He claimed Shuli leaked confidential info, even tried to undercut him with employers. What a dickhead. Shuli didn't bite back. He didn't sue. He just ignored it until finally push came to shove. When Karl opened the door to join him in goofing on Stuttering John, Shuli couldn't resist, and the rest is, history. Don't forget to check out Shuli on the Shuli Network. And what about Karl Heberger? Hailing from Rochester, New York, he started out roasting bad podcasts and spun it into the giant Who Are These Podcasts? Known for pedaling his bike up and down the driveway, shouting his catchphrase, "Just do it," having a mandolin and loving to take naps, Karl and his WATP crew are basically a who's who of who cares. And yet it works. His show took aim at John, and when Shuli teamed up, they doubled the firepower. Together, Karl and Shuli turned John's endless gaffes into entertainment, and John turned his humiliation into this lawsuit. So there you have it, the whole cast of characters in this here crazy LOLsuit. John the fading plaintiff, Tabor the typo with a rap sheet, Shuli the once patient victim turned roaster, and Karl the Rochester ringmaster shouting, "Just do it," from his wood-paneled basement. And now into the sideshow steps Danny Cevallos, an actual attorney, an actual TV personality. So there you have it, dabblers. Filing number 10, the notice of appearance, which introduced to us the man who is about to carve this case into deli meat. Next time on A Quickie with Lucy, we'll dig into the procedural stuff that actually tells us about how weak John's case really is. Think of it as a dumpster dive into the docket. And yes, we'll find out more about the couch cushions, which were in fact in the dumpster effectively. Until then, keep it quick, keep it dirty, and remember, if John ever does finish anything, it'll be fast and disappointing, and not nearly as impressive as Danny's appearance.
Out of all the timing, Lucy last week has been going ballistic on me.